There's nothing quite like the holiday season. It's the best time of the year, but also far and away one of the most hectic. Simplify what you eat with Factor, America's #1 ready-to-eat meal delivery service. My wife's a teacher, and Factor's had her covered for lunches at school. The jalapeno cheddar chicken is her favorite meal so far, while I've quickly taken to the creamy Parmesan chicken and green pepper and beef casserole as Ole Miss football rings in the postseason and it's prime recruiting season. We haven't skipped a beat at our house because we can rely on Factor. Factor's fresh, never frozen meals are ready in just 2 minutes. All you have to do is heat and enjoy. What are you waiting for? Head on over to factormeals.com/TOC50 and use our special Talk of Champions promo code TOC50 to get 50% off. That's right. Factormeals.com/TOC50 and promo code TOC50 to get 50% off. Continue to support your wellness goals while feeling your best this holiday season. Try Factor today, a proud sponsor of the Talk of Champions podcast network. Happy Monday, November 27th, 2023. I'm Ben Garrett, and this is the Flagship on the Talk of Champions podcast network. And no, you're not rewatching Egg Bowl week. No. Brian Hadad is back again. Super Talk's Brian Hadad, who covers Mississippi State for Super Talk. He is back again, my friend. And we got to get to the first most important thing happening in this rivalry conversation right now.
Yeah.
All right.
Yes.
CM Punk has returned to WWE.
For the first time in quite a long time.
10 years.
Raw is on my DVR for tonight. I will be recording because we have a press conference today at 7:30 p.m. I've never done a nighttime press conference before.
He got there. Lebby got there yesterday night.
Yeah.
I couldn't have done it at like 1.
I don't know. I don't know why that is, but it is what it is. But yes, I will definitely be tuning in to see where this takes us. So yeah, I'm excited.
You're not bringing the excitement that I thought you would, because this is an historic day
with Punk. For me, because
this is what everybody tuned in for.
You're right. I am an AEW guy right now.
Oh, okay.
I've kind of made that switch. I just I love Roman Reigns. I love the bloodline thing. I think they should let him hold the belt for maybe another year, to be honest with you. Just I never get tired of it. But I'm not a huge Cody Rhodes guy, and I'm not a huge Seth Rollins guy. I mean, great wrestlers, don't get me wrong. The matches are fantastic.
Man, if you don't think Seth Rollins and CM Punk's feud is not going to be an absolute...
That's what I'm saying. That's going to be lit. I mean, it's going to be unbelievable. I mean, I think there's some real, this has some Bret Hart, Shawn Michaels kind of potential.
There's some real
life,
heat involved in this, just like there's some real heat now back in the Egg Bowl rivalry.
A little heat, yeah.
Heat.
Yeah, that's how I like it.
Yeah. I don't think Mississippi State could have made a more 2023 Mississippi State hire than hiring Jeff Lebby.
Okay. Explain that.
First of all, Jeff Lebby, great coach. Great offensive mind. First-time head coach. I thought it was sitting head coaches that State was going after. First, what happened in the search, and how did it get to Jeff Lebby, who is Lane Kiffin light? I'm sorry. I'm on one. I'm on one this one. I want to mess with you so bad, but I'm trying to be professional, and I can't.
I think State wanted a head coach to start. I think they really wanted Jamie Chadwell, and I think there was some interest on Chadwell's part originally. But at the end of the day, I think he wants to stay in that area of the country. And in the next couple of years, Virginia's going to open up. South Carolina's going to open up because I don't think Beamer's going to make it there. Mac Brown might retire at the end of next season, and then North Carolina has opened up. I mean, there's some good opportunities there for him in that area of the country. So I think he's making good money at Liberty. They're undefeated. What is his problem? He doesn't have
mariachi bands in the post-game locker room.
Love it. I love to see that. I love the pomp and circumstance of college football. I think that Mike Elko was a name of interest, and I think he was intrigued by State. But at the end of the day, I think he kind of knew he was in the mix for the A&M job, and it ended up going that way. So, that's a no-brainer. Yeah, I would go to Texas A&M over Mississippi State. It's just a better situation.
It's just Mississippi State with more money.
Yeah, I mean, same colors and everything.
I'm sorry. I'm already. It's just too much fun. You hire Jeff Lebby, you can't shake it. You know what I mean? You can't shake why is Jeff Lebby a head coach today in the SEC? Because Lane Kiffin hired him from UCF to be his offensive coordinator, put him on the path, the fast track to becoming a head coach one day. And for it to end up his first head coaching opportunity to be State when it ended not particularly well between the two. They don't really particularly like each other all that much.
Mm-hmm.
It's the most Mississippi State hire for 2023 there can be. And the fact that fans showed up at the airport with the "Go to Hell Ole Miss" sign, Brian, I thought it didn't matter anymore. I thought Ole Miss was not the bar.
When did you think that? When did you think that? That's never not been the case. Come on.
There's just been peace between you and I for so long.
Between you and I, we're just two people. We're not, we're not representative of an entire a tribe of people.
It feels like State's trying to get a little piece of the Lane Kiffin, pie. And it's hard to, and I'm not saying that to be dismissive. It just feels like it's hard to get past that when the move is Jeff Lebby. When you did have other options, you had Jeff. I mean, I don't know if John Sumrall.
Well, I was just about to get to him. Being a defensive guy, I think State really wanted to prioritize offense. Even when State's been good in the past decade, they haven't been really exciting offensively. And, it is more than just wins and losses in terms of being able to sell tickets. People love to support a winning team, but they love to support a winning team that's exciting too. And I always go back to Kiffin's first year at Ole Miss. I mean, that wasn't a great team. They were 5-5.
In a 10-game All-SEC schedule, Brian.
Yeah, they were good. They won games, but they were exciting even in defeat. That game with Alabama is one of it's a great college football game. They're just going back and forth. And State hasn't had any of that, even with Leach. I mean, that was a ball control. They threw the ball a lot, but they threw the ball the way most teams just run the football. So I think offense was that's why Sumrall was probably a little further down the list because, I mean, his record is impeccable at Troy, but I think State really wanted to go offense here. And then once the big name guys were off the board for offense, then they turned to the best coordinator available, and that's Jeff Lebby, in my opinion.
So Rhett Lashley wasn't a candidate here.
I think he was, but I think when Pittman decided to stay at Arkansas, Lashley can see a situation where he just wait another year. So it's at SMU. Plenty of money. You're in a power conference now. And next year when Pittman leaves, take that job.
Are you surprised that State makes the move, fires a head coach after a year, who was a coordinator, first-time head coach, to then turn around and do the same thing again, except on the offensive side? Did that surprise you?
A little bit, because when I set up what I thought State should go after, young offensive coach and head coach were like my three biggest criteria. So State got 2 out of 3 on there. But yeah, I was a little surprised. I thought that they might need a former head coach or a current head coach, somebody who's had the top job before. But I just felt like they didn't have the guy that they really liked available to them. I really think that Chadwell was number 1 on the list. And early on there was some talks, but at the end of the day, they couldn't sway him.
Well, what's funny about Lebby is that immediately Lane Kiffin, retweets the picture of him in his socks to say we run the SIP. You see the pictures of "Go to Hell Ole Miss" at the airport. It's the one hire that can make the rivalry feel modern in its weirdness and acrimony, whatever you want to say, right? Animosity towards each other, whatever. Where else could they go as far as former or current Ole Miss staffers that you've heard that might go with them? Because that's a part of the calculus now for Ole Miss fans as well. That's why I'm talking to Brian, not just to mess with him, because State has hired Jeff Lebby, and Jeff Lebby, it did not end well with Jeff Lebby and Lane Kiffin at Ole Miss. Right. They did not like each other.
You go into more detail on that, because I don't know as much about it as you would.
Well, there was some stuff early on with COVID, because Lane, once COVID hit, Lane really didn't show up in Oxford for a while. He was still in Boca Raton, and Jeff felt like he was running the program essentially by himself. He was the figurehead and not getting any of the acknowledgement for it. And then there was some other particular stuff that just happens in relationships with coaches and stuff. The real, I think, moment, the fulcrum point for this relationship kind of becoming what it is when Kiffin got rid of Randy Clements, the offensive line coach, who I think will be the offensive line coach at State in short order. And there will be a Briles on staff. Kendall Briles will probably be the OC, maybe.
Yeah.
I mean,
there's a lot of smoke around that.
Yeah. So I think once that happened, the way it happened, because it happened at a time when changes aren't made. This was in the spring. This was in like April, May when Kiffin got rid of Randy Clements, and that was Lebby's closest friend left on staff. But like I look at John David Baker as a potential candidate that could.
My name has been mentioned, yes,
with an elevated title to go with Lebby. What else though? What else could really?
I think a guy who was at Ole Miss and is now at Oklahoma is John Joe Finley.
Yeah, but he's an Oklahoma grad, man. That's gonna be hard to do. You're gonna have to really promote him with title.
I think he'll be like the associate head coach or something like that. He'll be up there. Run game coordinator, pass game coordinator, whatever they want to call it. I don't know.
You're gonna get Derek Nix to come be the.
I don't
OC.
think Nix is coming. I don't think Nix. I don't think you can get him out of Oxford.
Why Lebby, Brian? Of all the guys, of all the ones,
let me ask you a question.
It feels very little brother. Okay, can I just be honest?
This is what Ole Miss fans do. All right, here we go.
All right, here we go. Let's get into the real brass tacks.
I had to deal with this the other day with Richard talking about, State had a drone show at the Egg Bowl. He's like, oh, man, copy.
Ole Miss did not invent drone
Ole Miss did not invent drone shows.
I agree.
Ole Miss did not invent tailgating in a central location. They did.
I agree.
And so Ole Miss didn't. I mean, the guy coached at Ole Miss. Tony Hughes coached at Ole Miss. Melvin Smith coached at Ole Miss and State. Jim Carmody coached at Ole Miss. It's happened. It's happened before. So it's just not. He coached.
Has Ole Miss ever hired a state coach? Kermit, I guess.
Yeah, Kermit. Yeah, I mean, I'm sure they have. I'm sure. Like I said, there have been plenty of coaches who coached at both schools, and it's just part of the. It's just. I mean, you live in Mississippi. So
right.
It's just not that,
all right, now that you've gotten the defense out of the way,
it's just silly.
Admit it though. You could have hired anybody, But when you hire Lebby,
who's an offensive coordinator right now that has that kind of juice? I'm telling you, Lebby is probably if you look at the top scoring offenses, you're not going to get anybody. From LSU, So you're not going to go get anybody from who I don't know who's Mike Bobo. We went through that last year here at Mississippi State. Tommy Reese, no.
Todd Moinkin.
Well, he's in the NFL now, right?
Yeah, he's with the Ravens.
Oh, yeah, I've always been told that recruiting wasn't his bag. He's quite happy to deal with adults. So,
all right, if I'd have told Brian Hadad before the search, Brian, I can predict the future. I'm looking into my crystal ball.
Yeah,
State is going to hire Jeff Lebby. What would you have said to me?
I would have said basically what I said at the beginning, that they must have struck out on a couple of guys, but they wanted to go offense, and he's the best coordinator out there. In reality, his resume is better than Dan Mullen's was when Dan Mullen got hired. He's been at 3 stops as an offensive coordinator. All 3 of them were potent offenses. Now, obviously, you work with Heupel and you work with Kiffin, and so you're running variations of their offense. But at Oklahoma, that's him. Venables is a defensive guy. So, and he's right now he's 4th nationally in yards and 3rd nationally in points. It kills me their fans are like, I'm glad he's gone. I'm like, you spoiled brats. You guys are going to Oklahoma. Texas is going to be okay. Oklahoma is in for a rude awakening next year. Real big time. When they go to Oxford, I don't think they're walking out of there with a win as we sit here today. So, I think Lebby, if you go back in time, you tell me it's Lebby, I would have said, well, they must have struck out on a couple of guys. But from fits the bill of State needs excitement and offense, and he'll bring that.
I just need you to admit that you can totally understand this time.
I get where you're coming from.
Okay.
Yeah.
But it feels like cutting a piece. Like you want to replicate that in some way. Not to say you're copying,
right?
But a lot of it is just modern college football.
Let's just look at it like this. Let's just look at it in the most basic terms. Let's take State and Ole Miss average. Like, if you run a football team and do you want to have an exciting offense that wins a lot of games? Yeah. That's what Ole Miss is doing right now. They have an exciting offense and they win a lot of games.
Even when they don't play well. Even when they're not playing particularly well, the offense can still.
When Ole Miss has lost over the past few years, it has lost because it is of defense. That's why this year they were better. They were better defensively. That's why they're 10-2 right this second. So
17-7 in the Egg Bowl.
What a gross game! Oh, so gross.
I almost texted you.
I'm sitting there in the press box, and I'm sitting there like this. I'm like, This was the most boring Egg Bowl I've ever
bad.
been to. And I've been to Egg Bowls where one team was blowing the other team out, and you're like, it's not in doubt. 18 was that way for State, obviously, like 08 for Ole Miss.
Yeah.
But this game, I was just like, this is so boring. It's so boring. And
no one wanted to be there, it felt like.
Yeah.
Even the fans that showed up because they just missed the Egg Bowl. That didn't feel like the Egg Bowl.
You watch that game, and you're just like, if State had any offense whatsoever, they could do anything with the football. But they couldn't.
Felt like everybody was going through the motions. It really did. Except Greg Knox, who rode out in a four-wheeler for us on an inexplicable reason. I
admit it, though. Cool.
When Stone Cold did it, it was cool. When Greg Knox did it, like we know why Stone Cold did it. Like, why did he do it? He said
it was part of some sort of motivational series. But from that Inky, I don't know a whole lot about Inky Johnson, but I know that he's a big-time motivational speaker.
He speaks to all the SEC schools. Yeah.
He came to Starkville this last week, and spoke. And apparently, he had a video where he talked about if you're riding a four-wheeler and you get knocked off, you got to get back on again. And so the four-wheeler became like
what if he'd have said a horse?
Can you imagine if that locker? Because what happens? I don't know if you saw, but like the locker room's doors open and you see the four-wheeler coming out, and I mean, we're going nuts, right? Even the press box were like, "Oh my God, he's on the four-wheeler."
Which to me,
if it had been a horse, I might have legitimately lost my mind. Yeah. I might have been. So I said the only thing he did wrong, and Richard was like he should have, because he didn't go through the band, right? He went around the band.
Yeah, that didn't.
There were some issues with the turf, and I get it, but I was like, not only would I have gone through the band, I would have buzzed the Ole Miss sideline.
Yeah.
I would have gone across to the sideline and given Kiffin the finger right there in the middle of it. Like, negative Ghost Rider, the pattern is full. No, we're coming through. So, but it didn't happen.
I didn't really connect how it's applicable to dealing with adversity. I really couldn't connect that dot. Having said that, sure, it's whatever. It's the Egg Bowl.
They had a 25% chance to win, but when you have a four-wheeler, that increases to 50 to 66.6% chance to win. You combine that with the original 25%. No, never mind.
Still 17-7. What a gross game. What an absolutely gross game.
It was gross.
But it kind of speaks to
the play call, the last touchdown for Ole Miss. It was
awesome.
That's something State has not had. And like, I can't tell you the last time a Mississippi State wide receiver or receiver was that wide open. Yeah. Literally, I could have caught that ball and scored. There was nobody within 15 yards of him.
Well, it's the point I've been making. I've been making it as a joke to mess with you, but it's State wanting to usher in modern college football, which is completely offensive bent and is portal bent. And for Mississippi State,
not portal, but they tried that with Moorhead. They thought that he was this offensive guy, and then you look and you find out, no, he just had Saquon Barkley.
The car buying process can be a lot. I know, I've been there. You just want to get in and out with a new car and the best deal. Simple. Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford keeps it simple. They're going to take care of you, get you in and out with your new vehicle with a great deal. Their inventory right now is priced to sell, and what separates Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford from any and all competitors is they aim to address each of your needs with the utmost respect, care, and attention to detail. Contact them today at 662-234-8000. That's 662-234-8000. Stop by and see them in person at 2201 East University Avenue in Oxford. That's Allen Samuels Chrysler Dodge Jeep Ram of Oxford to find your next perfect car, truck, or Jeep. Allen Samuels, let's be friends.
Introducing the new and improved BNA Bank mobile app. From setting transaction alerts and tracking your spending habits to managing travel plans and turning off a lost or stolen debit card, you can take care of all of it in the new BNA mobile app. At BNA Bank, we know that life moves pretty fast, and we have the mobile technology to keep up with your life on the go. BNA Bank. Local, invested, modern banking.
What if Jeff Lebby is just a great offensive coordinator, not a good head coach?
Well, then State's going to be in a lot of trouble.
Yeah.
A lot of trouble. Because the State's in a precarious spot right now. The SEC is expanding. Your rival has won 28 games over the last 3 years.
So you admit that the rivalry played a part in it?
I think the rivalry plays a part in almost everything. So, yeah.
But not on this side. It doesn't feel that way. Is that like Ole Miss? Ole Miss is not carried. Like, you don't see fans at the airport saying, go to hell, Mississippi State, when Ole Miss hires Lane Kiffin. He's kissing babies.
Nah, I hear fans
Jeff
like,
Lebby gets off and he's just clanging, like, do you hate Ole Miss? Good. You know, like, it's just a weird dichotomy, man. You know?
Yeah, all fans like, hey, get a burner phone so we keep committing NCAA violations.
The NCAA is a feckless bullshit organization. Who cares? Y'all should have got on board with that rather than go, I hope they get Ole Miss. Why don't y'all just break some rules? Y'all did. You did with Leo Lewis. I'm sorry.
Hold on.
We're going down the road.
First, what does feckless mean?
Get a dictionary. If you don't know what feckless means, you son of a gun.
You're a dictionary.
Well, I'm just saying the rivalry played a role in this, and that's why I had to talk to you again. Because,
well, I mean, how can it not though? I mean, like I said,
but it doesn't on this side, Brian.
I'm just gonna. I mean, you're fooling yourself at this point. If State over the last 3 years had won 28 games,
they go hire State's coordinator,
huh?
Would they go hire State's
coordinator?
If
he is some sort of savant, if he was some sort of, you know.
Oh, Jeff Lebby's a savant now. I thought he was down on the list.
Mississippi State had an offensive coordinator.
All right.
And then he went on to Oklahoma or whatever and was continuing to be successful.
Okay.
Yeah. Why would you not bring that guy back in? Why would you not at least interview him? Are you saying that because what you're saying is Ole Miss wouldn't interview that guy?
No, they would.
He was at Mississippi State.
Ole Miss wouldn't hire a coordinator. Ole Miss wouldn't hire a coordinator.
Oh, okay.
Let's just admit that they're in different hiring places right now.
Right now, yeah.
Yeah. And
there's no question.
But here's one thing I think is a great hire for what State was looking for. I do. I actually, my buddy Pine Knot, who is the biggest Brian Hadad fanboy I've ever met.
His name is Pine Knot.
His name's Stephen Allred. Don't make fun of your biggest fan. He loves you, dude. You really better tread carefully here. Well, or if you want to just play the hill up, he's a big State fan. So
he's a State guy.
Yeah.
You have another friend who's a State fan?
Yeah, I have a lot of State friends. That sounds like
you have a lot of friends.
I know. It's shocking.
I was the only one.
Look at this. How does this make friends? I have no idea.
Is that an Ole Miss hat you're wearing, by the way?
This is a Bears hat.
Yeah, that's my point.
No.
Okay, just being sure.
Why does that matter?
I mean, like retro Ole Miss, you know?
The Bears? The Chicago Bears?
Oh, Chicago Bears. I'm
a Cowboys fan. I just like the hat, and I don't like my hair ever. So, like, you know, when you have a lot of self-hate, you have to find ways. Layers and hats. Layers and hats. We're getting off topic here. All right. So we were talking about staffers that could leave. John David Baker.
Freeman back there, by the way.
Yeah, that's Freddie Freeman celebrating the World Series championship. This is my honey. This is honey.
I know your wife, yeah.
And this is Harry Potter and his wife all grown up, and his family all grown up.
So that's Jenny and Albus, and I don't know the other kid's name.
Whoa! God, you just became so much cooler in my book.
I don't know the other kid's name.
The fact that you knew Jenny was the wife is just...
Why would I not know that Jenny Weasley was his wife?
I don't know. People call you a nerd enough. People call you a nerd enough about the stuff you love. You just assume that everybody hates the stuff you love except you.
I've seen all the movies, read all the books.
Forgive me. I'm sorry.
Yeah. I mean, I'm not into it the way I'm into like Batman or Star Wars, but I know my Harry Potter.
I'm not. I know all about Star Wars and I don't care about it. So I'm with you. I understand. All right. Any other staffers that
from
immediately
jumped
to
like the guy you mentioned,
John David Baker. Yeah,
that's the only one to my knowledge that's on the list. And then it's gonna be interesting to see who stays. I'd like to see Chad Bumpus stay on staff.
Chad.
He is my guy. Because I mean, if nothing else, you want to keep JJ Harrell in the fold. I think you want to try to get back with Stonka Burnside. I don't know if he can or not, but we'll see. And then do you keep Tony Hughes, or is it time maybe for him to take an administrative job? I think Greg Knox deserves to stay on staff in some fashion. He was just an analyst before Arnett got fired, so I mean, just keep him there. And then I would keep David Turner. I mean, his resume is so good with these defensive linemen. Maybe you can bring some of those guys in. I don't know, but Bumpus is the only one I would really make the huge effort to keep. But the other guys I mentioned would have an opportunity, and then we'll see. State
has the opportunity to do one of the funniest State things ever, and that is find a way. You hire Jeff Lebby, but then find a way to get Arch to transfer in. I'm just saying they have the opportunity to do one of the funniest things ever.
I'd be back on this podcast. I would be right back here in this seat.
It's hilarious. I mean, if you're going to be Ole Miss light, then by God, just go full on. You know?
Yeah.
Embrace the darkness.
Change some speed limit signs on campus.
I'm saying this is the equivalent of Ole Miss hiring. What's that dude that went to Florida State or went to Florida was Dan Mullen's defensive coordinator? What's his name? Yeah, hiring Grantham back when they hired Matt Luke. I mean, it's the same thing, you know.
Well, the only I guess, yeah, because I mean, it's not like Lebby had any connections to Ole Miss prior to his time at Ole Miss. He's not an Ole Miss guy or anything like that.
At the end of the day, I'm sorry that you had to come back on this podcast just for me to screw with you. You are the walking embodiment of Mississippi State to me. I do not hate State.
You're like the walking bully pose here. Yeah.
So I just needed to say it to a face. I needed to say it to a face. If you wanted to be Ole Miss so bad, which has been the case.
Yeah.
Since the dawn of time.
Yeah.
Just, I mean, it's fine. Take Ole Miss's leftovers. It's fine. Sloppy seconds. I'm getting you ready, man, for the rivalry that's coming here.
You don't ever have to get me ready. I stay ready. I stay locked in 24/7, 365. Yeah,
he does. It's me that's really trying to drum it up. But that's part of why
I'm going to win my bet with Richard. I don't care about losing the egg
What's
bowl.
The bet?
It's the same thing. We take football, basketball, baseball, women's basketball, and we do soccer for some odd reason.
Okay.
And cumulative wins, but the egg bowl counts for 2. So he's up 2-1 right now. But I know Jans is getting me 2 wins, and I know
the baseball
because I just always do. So I just need Purcell. I need Purcell to get 1 win over Coach Yo this year, and I'll be all right.
Yeah, look, no, baseball is where you're going to pad your stats. I mean, let's be real.
I dominated him last. I had so much. So this could have happened, by the way. So we had a remote, and Keith Carter was there, and I was messing with him. I was like, "Did you see what I did to your boy? Did you see the clothes I put him in?" He's like, "That was tough. That was tough." I was like, "You want to make a bet with me this year?" And he wouldn't do it because he's like, "I can't be wearing maroon and white." I was like, "No, I get it." And I offered him. I said, "If Ole Miss wins the Egg Bowl." This is in August when I think State's going to be, or July when I still think State's going to be pretty good.
Which is what you feel like every July.
Not every July.
No, that's just Steve. Sorry.
Yeah. So the bet I made with him was, I agree. I said I would have been his personal assistant for a day, and I would have answered the phone. "It's a hotty toddy day here at Ole Miss. This is Brian. How can I help you?" I offered to do that.
All right.
But he wouldn't. I actually came up with a good. My reply should have been like, "Don't you have a skybox? Don't you have like an athletic director's skybox?
Yeah.
That's mine for the Egg Bowl next year. That's mine." And I'm just.
What's our bet? What's our bet? I think who has the most wins in 2024, Lebby or Kiffin?
Can I see who State gets through the portal first?
No, do it blindly.
Do it right now, well, then no, because I would not ever take State with their roster right now.
The roster, I mean, they're going to score from far. They're going to hashtag come to the SIP, hashtag GTHOM.
Hashtag State or swag is State, man. That's what we're rolling with over here.
Swag is State?
Yeah, it feels backwards, right?
State is swag.
State is swag.
State is swag.
Yeah, that's better, but I feel like they're going with swag is State. I don't know why.
I do like the script State. The script State. I wonder where they got the idea to use script.
Oh, okay. You didn't invent cursive either. Ole Miss did not invent cursive.
But it's an awful lot of coincidences going around here.
That logo has been at State since the 50s. Baseball was using it.
And baseball owns Mississippi State. Baseball owns Ole Miss baseball. So okay,
right. We win a national title, and you copy us.
That's the best part. Is State had the thing that it's wanted all existence just to have one thing to hang over Ole Miss.
Ole Miss was like, "Oh, it's not that hard. Watch this."
Yeah. The
very next year, is like the Ole Miss's win, I think, was like 363 days after State's. Yeah. State didn't even get a full year.
No, not even a full year.
Not even a full year of lording it over.
The one thing they wanted to lord over their State friends and family, say, or Ole Miss friends, excuse me, "We're better than you. See, we're not little brother. We don't copy you and hire Lane Kiffin light. We're just our own independent, blah, 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 blah." And then Ole Miss won one.
The whole time, by the way, this whole coaching search, whenever somebody would say Elko, my first name was Tim. I was always like, his first name is not Tim. I had to talk myself into his first name is not Tim.
And it's not like when I hear Rain Dakota Prescott, the first thing I think is Mississippi State. I think
you think about how to kiss him on the mouth.
my lobster, my quarterback for the Dallas Cowboys. The fact that he went to State, that's something we don't talk about. I don't really care. I love messing with Brian. I love when Brian gets into the rivalry because I know deep down you want to say some things right now. You want to look at me and go,
what am I going to say? We lost.
Yeah. I don't really – the game was so bad. It's not like it's hard to even want to like mess with you about it. It wasn't even a fun
State
win.
Won. I mean, the only way State was going to win was a rock fight like that. Was just to make it ugly. State couldn't get into a shootout.
I thought of you immediately, though. You said they just do not have the horses to hang with Ole Miss at all. And if they couldn't hang with that Ole Miss team, that was just offensively. No, whoever State's defense coordinator was, who's their defense coordinator? Matt Brock has got some on Lane Kiffin now. Yeah. He understands how to defend a Lane Kiffin offense.
Yeah.
That's twice in a row now.
State was so bad defensively at the beginning of the year. I mean, they were so bad. They finished 6th in the SEC in total defense. They were really good the second half of the season. It was odd, but offensively, do you want to hear? Let's play a game. State played 8 SEC games this year, right?
All right.
How many total points did they score?
84.
94. You weren't.
Shoot.
11.8 points per game.
Well, it makes sense why you hire Lane Kiffin Light then. I get it. Dollar General brand Lane Kiffin. I get it.
Oh, my God. I mean,
this is all what's coming. This is what you did. You could have hired Brett Lashley. You could have hired John Sumrall, who I think is the best. I like Lebby, too. I have no problem with Lebby. But this is what you open yourself up to.
The guy works for like 21 months.
No, he's an Ole Miss Rebel forever now, boy. He's Ole Miss red and blue through and through. No.
I think not. Is there anything I should like when I after the press conference, you always take a minute, go up there, shake his hand, be like, hey, I'm so and so from this. What should I throw his way to what's the inside joke that I should hit him with?
I don't know. I think you should just go say, hey, coach, who do you think runs the SIP?
Should I say it like that?
Yes. Hey, Coach Brian Hadad, who runs the SIP? Go State. No,
that's not what I talk like.
That's what it sounds like to me. It's all I'm hearing right now. That's not what I talk like. Like a debutante. No. You know, Dolly went dressed as a Dallas Cowboy cheerleader on Thanksgiving. Can we just have to take a moment before we get out of here just to say?
Yeah, I would like to say I saw that, and just speaking not only for myself but for a lot of other people, allow me to say, would.
I wasn't gonna say it.
Would. Without hesitation either. I wouldn't even think about it twice.
Dolly is our queen.
That's right.
So what have we gotten out of this podcast, folks? Ben trolling Brian. CM Punk is back.
Yeah.
Brian Hadad is feeling some type of way about Dolly Parton at 77. She's our queen. Woo! I don't disagree necessarily.
No.
And
you would.
Number 4. Congratulations on the hire, man. I know it's exactly what you wanted. You wanted a little piece of the Ole Miss teat, and you got it. Good for you, man.
The Ole Miss teat. How boxed up is that thing? My God.
Next thing he'll be calling himself the Portal. I guess he can't be the Portal King, so Portal God, like Riz God.
Portal Master. I don't know.
Yeah. Good to see you. Thanks
Dr.
for doing
Portal.
This. Brian, I kind of like Dr. Portal. It's like Dr. Poe.
Hey, look, if you're looking for me later, I'll be in section 23, row 40, seat 28. You come kick my ass anytime you want.
I love my guy, Bo. He straight up said, what the coffee shop said, what section? He said 23.
Go find a coffee shop.
The coffee shop.
My favorite thing out of that was 2 quarterbacks played in the 2013 Egg Bowl. One was threatening to fight a coffee shop. The other threw for 400 yards on Thanksgiving.
3 out of 4, man. 3 out of 4. Well, I mean, and when your whole existence is based off of...
You can't count 12 against Dak. He didn't do anything.
Oh, you can't count that against Dak. He didn't.
You can't count. What are you doing here? That's like counting 2012 against Randall Mackey or somebody. I don't know.
What's that? Zach Stroud? Was that his name? What was his name? Barry Brunetti?
Yeah. Barry Brunetti.
Look, when your whole existence is based off of beating Ole Miss regularly, and you've lost that game.
You saying LSU's whole existence is based off of beating Ole Miss regularly? They do.
No, I'm talking about State. And then you lose the game and then hire their offensive coordinator. You know that you got to come sit down with your friend Ben and let me mess with you.
I guess.
Yeah. He's Brian Hadad. What's your handle on Twitter and X, whatever it's called?
Really? First off, we don't say that.
We say
Secondly,
Twitter.
it's at Brian Hadad. It's very simple. No, nothing to it.
He's a very talkative person on Twitter. He's still a very active tweeter.
I guess, yeah.
Yeah. And he covers Mississippi State for Super Talk. And he's my friend, Brian Hadad. I don't know what this was supposed to accomplish other than to get with Brian and mess around about the Egg Bowl.
You just wanted to poke at me today.
Yeah. Yeah.
So, I'm glad. You know what?
The only other time we ever talk is leading into the Egg Bowl. Other than that, I get like very curt responses in text like, hey, Brian, love you, man. And he'll send me a GIF of Harrison Ford in Star Wars saying, I know. I can never get him to say it back.
I say it all the time.
I'm just needy as shit. That's all it is. Thank you, buddy.
Needy person.
Bye.
Bye.